So in a new study, Seattle and Portland are going to have the biggest drop in international tourism of any North American cities. Now, the study and everything else, all the other reports that are out there and what the news is basically telling you is that, all that stuff that Trump's doing with the tariffs, it's just crushing us. It's crushing Seattle and Portland. Are there any other factors to be considered here? What comes to your mind? Yep, let's get into it. Here we go. So I watched this last week when it came out, last Monday. No, this was August 1st, so it's been out for a little while. I watched this, and then I just recently watched Randy Cruz, Seattle, Portland's the largest tourism decline of any cities in America. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I remember that one. And I'm like, wow, got 159,000 views on that bad boy. And I'm like, that's a good one. Let's talk about it. So the real story here is nobody is saying a thing about crime, homelessness, drugs, dudes in wheelchairs that are vets getting shot on Seattle's waterfront on the boardwalk. Yeah, guy took a shot from 15 feet away. Guy just clipped him right in the chest. But don't worry about that. I'm sure tourists will overlook that and go, yeah, let's go to the U.S., let's go to the States. What could go wrong? Okay. Let's read from the Center Square. Seattle's expected to see a 27% drop in international overnight visitors this year, with generated sales tax revenue remaining flat. Well, we're going to skip through on the tax revenue. Go to recent data from Oxford Economics revealed that Seattle is expected to see a huge loss of tourism from Canada. According to global economic advisory firm's July report, Seattle predicted 27% fall in overnight international visitors in 2025. That's the biggest drop among U.S. cities, with Portland, Oregon, trailing at second with a predicted 18.4% decrease. Now, when you think Seattle, Portland, you think, well, easiest way for people to get to Canada is, do that, whole I-5 corridor thing. You got Seattle up on top and you got Portland slightly down below. They're the two biggest cities, West Coast, Best Coast, that people visit from Canada. And so in my mind, I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's why proximity to Canada, they're closest. But then I got to thinking, there's a lot of other cities that are really close to the border as well. What are the odds that one of them isn't in there? What about something from the East Coast where people are known to travel down and do that whole thing? Why Seattle and Portland? Yeah, that's the question, right? And not one major news outlet wants to take that on, because then you're admitting, maybe there are some inherent fundamental issues going on with Seattle and Portland. We talk about, commercial vacancy all day long in downtown Seattle and downtown Portland because of homelessness, because of crime, because businesses don't want to take down leases in areas that are basically lawless at times. Seattle's gotten better. Portland probably a scooch better, but you're still dealing with underlying fundamental flaws, which are you got a bunch of Looney Tune people on drugs running around, living wherever they want, and you're still trying to deal with that. Maybe that's a factor as well. Maybe people know that what's going on in Seattle is happening in Portland as well. They're doing a tiny bit of research and they're going, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we go somewhere else. Because it's not the tariffs thing, right? It's just simply not the tariffs thing. Despite the anticipated drop, number of overnight international visitors expected to grow again in 2026. So let's just go with that. And that's because we got 6 FIFA World Cup matches. Oh, all right. Well, that's kind of a temporary thing, isn't it? Focus on what makes sense. Focus on what makes sense. Don't focus on what doesn't make sense. During an Economic and Revenue Forecast Council meeting on August 4th, Seattle City Council member Dan Strauss noted that while international tourism is set to drop this year, tourism in general will continue to increase to record highs from 2026 onward. All right. So, what do you think? There's a little bit of stuff from the tariffs, clearly, because this is a country versus country thing, right? But the whole Seattle and Portland, it kind of goes down to if you are a corporation, think of the residents of Canada. If you're a corporation and you have to make the choice of which stores you close, kind of like people of Canadians have the choice of which cities to visit, are you going to pick, if you're a store owner and you've got troubles at one, but you don't have troubles at the other, you got public safety issues at one store and they're both making about the same money, but you've been dictated from up above, you got to close something down. Which one are you going to close down? Which choice are you going to eliminate from where you want to visit if you've got dollars from Canada and you want to come visit? They're clearly eliminating Seattle and Portland. And here's that study. So you got Seattle, you got Portland number 2, Detroit, Michigan number 3. Detroit, Michigan. Now it's been cleaned up, but not totally. Detroit, Michigan. Okay, what comes to mind there? Okay. Louisville, Kentucky. Not exactly a bastion of public safety. Cleveland, Ohio. Buffalo, New York. Minneapolis, George Floyd, Fentanyl Floyd. We got Nashville. We got Salt Lake City, Tucson, Columbus, a smattering of cities. But the first few ones, you're like, oh, yeah, those are some public safety issues. That's what you got going on there. That's what jumps to my mind. Whether or not that's warranted, I don't know. You know what I mean? Can you blame this all on Seattle's outward-facing tourism? You can certainly blame a bunch. And Seattle has had, massive remodel to its waterfront area and like $1 billion. And this kind of nonsense is still going on. Here was an interesting clip I found. Victoria Clipper sees drop in ridership amid U.S.-Canadian tensions. Now, what I want you to pay attention to here is how people just completely gloss over any crime issues that Seattle has, any homelessness, any wackadoodles on drugs out there, right? Here we go.
The sun's out.
Well, look at it today. We got hundreds of people walking the waterfront.
The waterfront's buzzing, but something's missing.
Huge portion of our international visitation is for Canada.
Fewer Canadians are crossing the border, and it's starting to show. FRS Clipper says ridership is down.
Traffic coming out of Canada is down about 30%, and traffic originating in the United States heading north is down between 7 and 10%.
Trade tensions are rising, and so is the rhetoric from the White House, adding fuel to a cross-border strain that's now hitting tourism.
We're not seeing the visits from our Canadian friends, and it's not for anything that we've done in Seattle. It's for stuff that's happened in the other Washington.
Fewer.
Really? You're going to go with that? That is what you're going with. See, you just got a bunch of people who think they're so smart here in Seattle. And in reality, they're mentally challenged. Because in order to take full responsibility for why things have gone sideways at any given point in any of these public policies, they would have to admit that they were wildly off base in what would work and wouldn't work. That guy, guarantee you did not vote for Trump. The other Washington is screwing us. No, the other Washington is being what's called a leader. And you, my friend, are a follower. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's keep going, though.
Visitors, fewer sailings.
It was a shock. It was a surprise because we had definitely hoped for a better year than we're experiencing.
As tourism tumbled, Seattle businesses launched the Open Arms Canada campaign ahead of the Blue Jays series earlier this month.
They were just as pleased as could be that we were thinking about them and inviting them down here.
Spots like Ivers offered 30% discounts. About 1,000 Canadians took part.
But even with that, attendance at the ballpark was down 15 to 12,000 people.
International tourists make up just under 6% of all visitors to Seattle, and Canadians account for 80% of that group.
There's certainly anger. There's a lot of feelings that are very valid. And, they really want us to lean into inviting them to come,
knowing that the answer is probably going to be no.
Tourism and
What are we talking about? What literally, what are you talking about? I don't even know. Like, there's feelings involved and somebody's going to be upset. You got to invite them even though you're not coming. I mean, it sounds like, I don't know. I don't even know what that sounds like. You know what I mean? What's going on here? Because I want to know, are the tariffs impacting tourism? Are the tariffs impacting tourism? If that's the case, how? Because otherwise, I'm going to go with, I have done a crap ton of stories on street conditions in Portland. I have done a crap ton of street conditions in Seattle. I have personally walked both. Seattle a lot more than Portland. Last time I was in Portland was during the riots. And it wasn't great. Neither city is great. And I've been having these talks with people who are heavily involved in tourism, especially business tourism, where you've got conventions. And they have consistently said, hey, Seattle, no go. Portland, no go. We just can't go there anymore. So I hear that from the business end of things. And then we've got a bunch of numbnuts in Seattle going, it's Trump's fault. Orange man bad. It's always orange man bad. You know, I think you can get some help for that Trump derangement syndrome, because I hear it so often here in Seattle that they actually believe that, you know, everything going on is just the end of the world. And you're like, so cracking down on crime is the end of the world. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'll try and remember that. Let's keep going here.
business leaders say this dip won't last.
Over time, these issues will go away, and we'll be back up there and they'll be back down here.
And they're already
Again, these issues will go away. Okay. Which issues? What issues are we talking about? What are we talking about? Yeah. And they'll be up there and we'll be down here. I mean, that is basic geography. One of the underlying principles of real estate, particularly residential real estate, is that there are no two parcels identical. Even if you got side-by-side square blocks, just absolutely the same, you're going to have a different longitude, latitude for one versus the other. You can have a different address, different tax parcel. No two parcels are the same. So when you're saying Canada is more northerly than Seattle or Portland, I can agree with that. Yes, I can agree with that. Does that explain things? No. But anyway, let's just continue to talk in hyperbole.
looking ahead.
I think it's going to get better. And when it does, Clipper wants to be here to serve them.
And in addition to the cuts in sailings that Clipper is offering, they also say they had to lay off 20 of their Seattle employees, and they had to cut hours for some of their employees in Victoria. Reporting live in Seattle, Bridget Chavez, King 5 News.
So, I mean, even local businesses are, being impacted. And that's the Clipper. That is that's the ferry ride you take to go to BC. It's pretty cool. My wife did, and I did it way back in the day, probably 1993. And it was cool. We stayed at the Empress in Victoria, I believe. Great time, an epic time. Enjoyed Canada, enjoyed that everything that that little deal was. So those numbers are way down. But hey, let's go ahead and blame the tariffs. And let's not look into this anymore. Because I did some research on this, and Brandy Cruz hit home runs with her segment on this. She's got a bunch of shorts. You can check all that out. But when I saw her video, I was like, yeah, I'm not buying it either. I'm not buying it either. Like, why Seattle Port number 1, number 2? And if somebody else out there has a better explanation, I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think the difference is between Seattle and Portland and all these other cities that are close in proximity to Canada as well, that aren't decreasing to the tune that Seattle and Portland are. Yeah. Let me know. Comments. That's it for me. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe. You hit the like button. Just do all that stuff. Thanks in advance. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.